Alfie, come and say hello to your fans. Come on, come and say hello to your fans. He's being shy all of a sudden. Right, welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team. In this episode, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I'm really pleased that I did do to the Rally Mini. Welcome to the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team, where we are competing in motorsport as a fun experience, and we're probably unique as most of our sponsorship is through crowdfunding from lovely people like you. Your support, as always, is hugely appreciated. Thank you very much. First one on the list is the rear quarter light windows. Now on our Mini, I don't know if you know how the history of Minis, but the early Mark 1s had piano hinge windows. So there's a big piano hinge down one end. In the 60s, they modified the rear clampy thing and put an R-clip in it so they can open the window all the way open, so you can get in the back and do stuff. And I just thought that was genius, because obviously a Mini's only 2 doors, isn't it? And trying to act, especially on a modern Rally Mini with that monster rear cage, trying to get behind the seats and the roll cage is almost impossible. I've located the fire extinguisher, the battery and a few other bits and bobs where the back seat should live, and if I didn't do this, it would have been almost impossible. As I say, they did it in the 60s, and they even do it on the WRC cars of today. They have, clips, they can remove the whole window. I've got some friends that rally a 4-door car, and to be honest, that's perfect, isn't it? But they don't make a 4-door classic Mini. So the second thing, talking about the rear seat, is my modular system that I kind of adopted throughout the car. Now, I got this idea when we went to the NEC Motorsport, whatever it was, thing, and I noticed on Mark II Escorts in the engine bay on one side they would have a coil and something else, and it was all mounted on an aluminium plate that was bolted to the inner wing, and I went, that's genius, because if it goes wrong you could just unbolt that thing, whoop, service crew can whack a new one on and away we go. Now I, in my head, modified this a little bit too much, and I've fitted brackets pretty much everywhere in the car. The car looks like Lego, but that means I've got some somewhere. That all I had to do was make some aluminium plates like this, and I can bolt them down all over the back seat. I think there's 2 in the rear boot, and even the navigator's footrest is designed the same way, and I've got one ready to sort of design for my footrest, although I haven't really got round to it. There's also one on the parcel shelf for the rear facing GoPro and the stoplight. That one's a classic example. So if I wanted to mess around with the way that is all set up on the back, yes, I can open up my rear windows, which is really good, but still getting in there to do it is really hard. So all I have to do now is go in the back, unclip it, undo the 4 bolts, and the whole tray comes out with all the bits. So I can bring it in here, modify it however I want, and bolt it back in, clip it in, done. It's saved me so much time, and also it means I don't have to drill fresh holes into the car every time I change something. One of the things that got picked up in scrutineering a while ago, I think it was at Bovington, was my fire extinguisher was too close to the side of the car. Again, it wasn't a problem. When I got home, I just unbolted the plate that's got the fire extinguisher on, moved it along to the regulation sort of distance, re-drilled the plate, and then bolted it back in. Bob's your auntie's live-in lover. A lot of people did take the piss out of me while I was doing it, saying it's going to weigh a ton, and yes, it still does, but having that modular system has just saved the day so many times, and I'm very glad I did that. Sill stands. Jacking in general is quite difficult on a classic Mini for everybody that knows. I incorporated these in when I was actually doing the sills in the car. So basically I think they're 20mm thick tube, with the ID, an ID of 20mm that goes through the outer sill and the inner sill with reinforcement plates. So the idea is then you can jack the car up, put the sill stands in, and then you can drop subframes, you can do whatever you want. I actually got this idea from looking at one of the Swift Tune minis at Goodwood Revival, and I went, genius, that I'm gonna have to do that. And again, pretty much every project car, I think I want them. Didn't put them into Bernie the 1275 GT, but I kind of wish I had. The only downside from the actual jacks that I've used is that they're not particularly high. Mate of mine, Dave Goodwin, who serviced for us at Goodwood Southdown Stages last year, did indicate that basically he wouldn't be able to get underneath the Mini because it doesn't jack it up that high. So I either need to buy some nice big WRC sill stands, they're a bit expensive, or fabricate my own. Which option I go for, that comes down to time, money and everything else. If you want to keep up to date with basically what option I go for, please smash that like button, click the subscribe button and that little bell, because that will give you notifications when I make a new video. How about becoming a YouTube member or a patron? Apart from being a sponsor, that's one of the best ways that you can help support our little team. It's only a few quid a month, and you get to see an additional video that I make every week known as the midweek update video. And if ever I start messing around with sill stands, that's where you'll see it first. Right from the start of building this, I knew we were going to use it on a gravel rally. That's what it's designed for. It's designed to do everything. And I was told some pretty horror stories by other classic Mini owners that go gravel rallying, saying yes, because the car's so low, yes, you will hit bumps and you'll get dents and things like that, but more than anything else, you'll actually wear the floor away, because as you can imagine, if there's a bump and you're going over it, it's not this that's causing the issue, it's actually the constant rubbing, and you'll wear the floor away, where it will become so thin that it will start to break up. So I made captive brackets all over the bottom of the car, a bit like the Lego that I put inside the car, so that I can bolt in full length aluminium underfloor protection. And I'm so glad I did that. When we did the Isle of Wight stages, which is the only gravel rally we've ever done so far, how can I describe it? We took our 1969 classic Mini into a gravel rally stage. My goodness, what an abuse it took. It was brutal. Please go and check out that video. I'll leave a link somewhere, but the pounding our little Mini took was unbelievable. We won our class, which was brilliant, and it was down to attrition more than speed, because we finished the rally when many other cars didn't, and I put a lot of it down to this underfloor protection. When we got back, we jacked it up. Catherine and myself looked underneath, and we were just gobsmacked how bashed around these aluminium plates were. But if they weren't there, that would have been the bottom of the car. These are sacrificial aluminium plates, worth all the time and effort. Tow bar on a rally car? Yeah, let me tell you a story. The whole idea was inspired by Drag Week in the States, or like Street Weekend, Adam Campion going off drag racing around the UK. You got to kind of tow all your spares and all the bits with you. And I thought that would be brilliant for club racing here on the Isle of Wight. Rather than put the Mini on the trailer, I can just put a trailer on the back with spare wheels, spare tools. We can go off, do our auto tests and things like that, unhook the trailer, unbolt the rear tow bar if I really wanted to, do the event, stick it on, come home. That was the idea. Now, unforeseen bonus of that, when one of my mates wanted to jack up the back of the car, they put the trolley jack underneath, and of course the beam in the middle is the perfect central jacking point to bring the whole back of the car up to put the sill stands in. It's kind of all interlinked, isn't it?
Interlinked. interlinked.
And from that point on, I've actually modified it so it actually has like a proper little mount on the bottom of the tow bar. I know in a race car you don't want that additional weight, but I'll tell you what, when I design or build another rear subframe, I'm going to try and incorporate a central jacking point in there, even if I don't have a tow bar, because it's a game changer. Right, that's it. I've got to get back into the workshop and start spannering on the Rally Mini because our next event's coming up really soon. The algorithm says that you'd be interested in this video, which hopefully is one of ours. So come on, click on that, support our little team, and I'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.